We're starting with a stunning announcement from President Trump earlier today. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been captured by the U.S. military. Tonight, President Trump says the U.S. will now run Venezuela. ABC's Olivia Rubin breaks down the latest.
Tonight, Venezuela's president as a prisoner after being captured in a daring U.S. military raid. President Trump posting this image today with the caption, Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima.
The United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night, captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice.
Multiple explosions and low-flying aircraft were heard around 2 a.m. local time in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas, the president watching from Mar-a-Lago.
In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
For weeks now, the U.S. had been ramping up pressure on Maduro, seizing 2 U.S. oil tankers and deadly military strikes on alleged drug boat smugglers. In a new indictment, Maduro and his wife charged with drug crimes and conspiracy.
Maduro and Flores have been indicted for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States.
Maduro accused the U.S. of mounting a months-long pressure campaign to force a regime change and to gain access to its vast oil reserves. He has also denied having any ties to the drug trade. President Trump saying the U.S. will now be running Venezuela until there can be a transition of power.
We're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid.
The administration says it didn't inform Congress of today's operation, citing fear of information leaking. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
Tonight, Virginia lawmakers are also speaking out after the latest U.S. strike in Venezuela. Layla Cox is in studio here with more. And Layla, Governor Youngkin has praised the president over this move.
That's right, Madison. While some Virginia lawmakers like Youngkin and Congresswoman Jen Kiggans voiced their support to the U.S. strike, others, including Senator Mark Warner and Congressman Bobby Scott, are sounding the alarm about President Trump's use of military force. In addition to capturing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, now President Trump says the U.S. government will temporarily run the country and use Venezuela's oil reserves to sell to other countries. Saturday's attack marks a major development in the Trump administration's pressures on the South American country, after months of U.S. strikes on boats officials say were smuggling drugs to America. Since the attack, several of Virginia's lawmakers are responding. Senator Tim Kaine is a leading voice in concerns raised over the president's efforts to expand what he says is unauthorized military force. Here's what Kaine had to say this afternoon.
We've seen this president initiate unilateral action against Iran, against terrorist groups within Nigeria, and now against Venezuela, as well as against boats in international waters without seeking congressional approval.
In other countries like Lima, which you're seeing on your screen right now, Venezuelans are out in the streets celebrating. 13 News Now spoke with president of Virginia-based Venezuelan advocacy group Ven Conmigo. President Chalita says many Venezuelans are excited Maduro is no longer in power.
We need to be careful with this. This now is the time for celebration. Everybody's happy for Maduro is in the jail, and this part is very good. But the freedom is coming, and we need to be organized.
Tonight at 11, we'll hear from 13 News Now political analyst and why they say this recent development could have a drastic impact on our history's foreign relations. I'm Layla Cox, 13 News Now.
Thank you, Layla. Maduro is currently being held in New York after being captured and brought aboard USS Iwo Jima. The assault ship was in the Caribbean and South America after deploying from Naval Station Norfolk back in August. And tonight, retired Navy Rear Admiral Michael Smith is reacting to the recent moves in Venezuela. Smith is also the founder of National Security Leaders for America, a group of more than 1,400 national security professionals. Smith tells 13 News Now the servicemen and women who carried out their mission in Venezuela need to be commended. He says they were given a tough mission and were successful in carrying out their tactical operations. But Smith's pause in the plan comes with how the action is going to be viewed by other countries. countries. Smith adds this type of regime change could give countries like China the permission to act in the same way. Moving forward, Smith hopes the president is able to think of what impact this action can have long term.
There's just a lot of potential long-term danger, especially when the president himself says he's not too concerned about troops on the ground. You know, I thought we were getting away from these endless wars. I thought we were done with regime change. And so my concern is more, can this be drawn out?
Smith says there's also a possibility of troops on the ground in Venezuela could face rebel forces in the fallout of a regime change. He hopes whatever happens moving forward, it won't require more U.S. troops being called in. You can watch President Donald Trump's full press conference on Venezuelan military action on this app right here on 13 News Now Plus.